I'm a pastor, an artist, an author, a scholar, and a conversation. Welcome to ChatFest with Kenneth. Hello, and welcome to another episode of ChatFest with Kenneth. And in this episode, I'm actually going to be having a conversation with Bishop Foreman. I think this is, I think I like my guests introducing themselves. So without further ado, here's Bishop Foreman. And here, let's welcome Bishop Kevin Foreman.
Well, hello, how are you? I'm so glad to be with you today.
How is your day going?
You know what? It is going amazingly well. I got to tell you, it's a full day as always, but I love it that way. It's great to be productive. I like to use the word productive versus busy. So getting things handled, getting things accomplished. So it's a great day. How about yours?
It was a hard day because I went to I'm trying to get rid of these COVID pounds.
Oh, listen.
So I think I did 6 miles this morning, and so it's like my body is like screaming in pain.
I understand. You know what? If I could give you a secret, so I lost 95 pounds.
Are you kidding me?
I lost 95 pounds, and so naturally I did it back in 20. I started back in 2013. I lost the first 75 in 4 months, and then another 20 about a month later. And I did it all natural. No, nothing, no surgery, anything like that. Knocking that, just did it all natural. So I stopped eating after 6. Now they have a name for it. Back then they didn't have a name for it. Now it's called intermittent fasting. When I did it, it was just you didn't eat after 6. So intermittent fasting. And then I stopped eating fast food, stopped eating processed food, stopped eating processed sugar. And weight it came off like that. And I exercised. I did a light jog maybe 3 times a week for an hour. It ended up being about 45 miles for me. And 75 pounds came off like that. In fact, on my Instagram and Facebook, Bishop Foreman Instagram and Facebook, there's pictures of me before and after. And you can see 95 pounds. So I know what I'm talking about. So I know how to
let me ask you this question then. So, because a lot of people have been facing this during this whole quarantine process, because we're all used to going out, going to our jobs, going to dinner, going to lunch. Now we're being forced to stay in, and even the gyms, it's almost like it's limited capacity for the gyms. Right. So what would you tell people to do to avoid using food as an entertainment? Because it's almost like the day is monotonous. Food is the highlight of the day.
Yeah, it's like get eating and going to check your mail. Like those are the 2 biggest things you do today. That's like entertainment. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, Bishop, what did you do today? I still have full schedules, just everything is digital. And I said, you know what? Let me tell you, it was very exciting. I said, I went to get my mail. And I said it like it was a big deal. But here's what I would say is, 1, eat to live, don't live to eat. Okay. So it's changing in your mentality. So, listen, I love a good meal. I'm gonna be honest. I still to this day love a good meal, and I still love, I'm gonna be honest, white bread. Now, white bread is the one thing I did not remove from the equation. I just reduced how much of it I eat. And so I learned to do that. So I learned to put myself on things that discipline me. Because some people love going to the gym, some people love working out, all that. I have to pray. I'm gonna be honest. I pray passion for that because I don't have that naturally. So God, you got to get that to me because I do not have that naturally. Yep. So like even right now, as you're speaking, I put myself 12 days prior to Christmas. I put myself on. Notice I put myself on a smoothie only. Okay. And then in those 12 days, I can only have 2 salads in addition to many in the whole 12 days. Smoothie only, water only. That's it. I said, because Christmas Day, I'm going to eat good. And I said, I want to make sure that I'm disciplining myself. So I would sum it up in that one phrase, like, eat to live, don't live to eat. So don't make it as big of a deal when it's meal time. Don't make it as big of a deal. Like, make it part of your day. Don't make it something like, oh, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to eat. And find other ways to stimulate yourself. Because I found the same thing. And let me tell you, I'll just be honest. I'll be very honest. The way I found out that I needed to knock out some of those pandemic pounds is I was traveling to speak to a state. I was traveling to Huntsville, Alabama to speak. And they had a formal event. So it was a black tie event. So they said, you need to wear a tux. So I put my tux, my tux in there. Let me tell you.
Yep. Yep.
No,
Yep.
no.
I'm going through the same thing myself. I'm going through, like, all I wear is slacks and sweat. So it's like dressing up is an event, and most of my clothes are not like fitted.
I understand. I found out, and when that happened to me, I said, okay, you need to pull this back in. And what's amazing to me is that, honestly, I wasn't really eating more. It's just I wasn't moving around as much.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Right. And so even today, I made reference to that. Even today, like, the weather's 60. I'm in Denver today, and the
Get out of here.
60 degrees. And guess what? I did 5 miles yesterday, or about 4 yesterday. I'll do another 4 today, about an hour or so. That's roughly about 500 calories that I burned. I'm doing smoothies only, so I'm only at about 1,500 calories for today. My natural burn is about 3,000, 2,500, 50,000 calories a day. So anyway,
I'm just trade places.
Oh, listen, it's super simple. It's super simple to do. I did a whole webinar on it too. That's online, where I walked people through it at BishopForemen.com. We did a whole webinar, and I said, this is how I did it, because many times people give you do this, and the reality is, for me, my experience was that when I really changed what I ate, I changed my entire physiology of my body.
So there's something that I feel I should ask you.
Sure.
When you lost weight,
sure,
obviously there is a mindset on a self. I don't want to use psychological terms. So there is a self-concept of what you see yourself as. So as a big person, you look in the mirror, you see a big person. And when the weight is gone, the mind still needs to be renewed that, okay, that you're no longer that person. Some people have body dysmorphia where the mind doesn't switch. So the body has switched and the mind doesn't switch, and they still see themselves identify as a big person and have self-concepts as a big person. How did you switch? How did the mind switch for you?
Great question. And I'm going to be honest with you. For a while, so when I lost the first 75 pounds, you want to hear something that's going to probably shock you and your viewers, etc. I didn't know I lost the weight.
Wow.
I didn't have a scale.
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't want to know what it said. So I was, I didn't want to know what it said. So I didn't have a scale. I remember going, and I shared this the other night on one of our prayers, just as part of when we were praying. I didn't know I had lost the weight. And so I went up to teach a leadership deal in the mountains, Vail or Keystone, somewhere like that. And when we went, we'd been casual for the majority of that year. And so we were casual. And so I really wasn't paying attention to how things fit or what have you. I just thought, okay, maybe the jeans are just loosening up a little bit because I'm wearing them. I didn't really, honestly, I didn't pay much attention. So we're up there. I put on a suit. One of my assistants that was with me, he was a taller guy. And so I put the suit on, and the suit was hanging off of me. So I said to him, I said, dude, I said, what is this? I said, you brought me your suit? Because the jacket was hanging off, everything was hanging off. I said, how did you bring me your suit? He said, sir, that is not my suit, because he had one that was identical. So I checked the tags. I said, listen, look, this is clearly your suit. I checked the tags. I was totally wrong. I said, well, I apologize. I don't know what's going on. So I went down to teach my leadership deal. We headed back to Denver. It's about a 3-hour drive. We headed back to Denver. When we headed back, I said, well, I got to go get a scale because something has changed. And that Friday evening, I discovered, oh my goodness, I had lost 75 pounds. And I remember thinking to myself, how did you not see that you lost that much weight? And it goes into what you said, is the mind has to change. And I think part of that this is just me. While I am a PhD, but I'm not a PhD and I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not, you know, my specialty is not necessarily in fitness and those things. But here's what I'll say for me. What I had to really do was make the number what my gauge was to help me shift my mind. Because when I went in for a physical, and I shared this on prayer the other night too, when I went in for a physical, the doctor said, you know, Bishop, you are, and I can be transparent with you on it, like I was just under 240 pounds. You are pushing 240. And they said, if one more of these numbers ticks up, you will be in the pre-diabetic stage.
Wow.
So I remember hearing that and thinking, oh my God, Jesus. So, you know, and so, but I didn't really have a plan. And so Job 22:28 says, you shall decide a thing and it will be established for you. Some old King James says decree, but the word there actually in Hebrew is decide, and this should be established for you. And I really had to come to the conclusion. I did every type of exercise program, every type of fitness program. And what I really had to say to myself, you know what? You haven't decided. You have not decided to be healthy and to slim down, and you have not picked a weight that you're going to be at. Okay. That's what I picked a weight. So I think, you know, to answer your question, you have to decide, this is the weight I want to be. This is where I want to be. That shifts your mind. So when you hit that, your mind, it clicks to your mind to say, you don't have to see yourself the way you used to see yourself, because you've accomplished your goal. That's
and that actually is applicable to every issue we face, even like an addict or whatever the case is. Just because you're not, like, I remember there's an expression that somebody used. He said, a dry drunk. Like, you stop drinking, but you're still a drunk because your mind is still a drunk. And so just because you're not acting out, but you're still there. So it's just the opportunity. You're just waiting for the opportunity, and you're going to be right back there.
Right back on it. Wow, that's a great point. Excellent point.
So I noticed that on your Instagram, you're called the People's Bishop.
People's Bishop.
Yeah. How did you get that?
You know, because I on a lot of our social media, of course, this year has been different because with coronavirus and what have you.
Yeah.
Not been as interactive with people as I like to be physically in terms of hugging. I'm a shepherd that loves the people he leads. I enjoy people. I am the guy that can get in the elevator and don't know anybody, and get off the elevator and know everybody. So that's just, you know, part of my, I wasn't always that way, but that's part of my personality. And so people would see me interacting with people, the testimonies, and I would listen to feedback when people would say, when I would first meet people, sometimes through press interviews or what have you, and they say, we noticed on your social media, you look like you really enjoy the people really enjoy you. So we noticed this thing. They were paying attention mostly to my engagement with other people. They noticed the other things, but what they paid most attention to was my engagement to other people. And so long story short, you know, there was something where they talked about Princess Diana. And I think it was Tony Blair that called her People's Princess. And when what you saw, and so my question was, well, what did she do? And so, but you saw what she did is she interacted with people, and she brought the monarchy and she made it
very accessible.
Made it accessible. So one day I said, you know, and honestly, I don't remember the origin of it, but what made us keep using it was a pastor friend of mine who's also a family member, also in another state. And we had People's Bishop on there, and I said, you know, I'm just thinking about what monarchy. He said, no, that's the ticket right there. He said, you are the People's Bishop. And I said, you know, we use it. I said, you know, that makes sense. So that's where that came from, because my desire was to make sometimes the guy on the stage, the guy with the mic, the guy with the suit or whatever, the guy with the collar, the guy with the bishop's ring, all of that can seem very far away. So what I wanted to do is bring it, make it accessible, so I can speak to those that are, you know, college educated, doctoral level, and then I can take the conversation to a whole nother spectrum and speak to somebody that's right there on the street. And I can do all of that within one sentence, so that the guy that's got a great education, he can understand it. And the guy that maybe he got a different type of education, maybe he was
type of education, because they're different intelligence.
Oh, different types. Oh, absolutely. Different intelligence, right? One is not better than the other, just different.
Exactly.
That I can speak to both of those individuals. To the guy with no tattoos, that's clean cut, I can speak to him. To the guy that's got a sleeve of tattoos, I can speak to him. I remember getting, well, anyway, there you go. So that's
okay.
what
So that segues to this question. What is being a bishop? Because from an average person, a bishop means, oh, title, celebrity, yada, yada, yada. Is that what what is a bishop to you? What?
Great question. So a bishop simply is a pastor to pastors, is the simplest way to view that.
Okay.
So if you were to look at the armed forces, you've got your different ranks. A bishop is essentially, and then of course you eventually get to your general, and the commander in chief, obviously being Jesus. So, so in that, a bishop is simply a simple way to look at it. It's a general. My job is to lead leaders, to influence influencers. That's what my job is.
Okay.
My job is to bring exponential change, because if you influence the following a person has,
like that.
exponential change, right? If you influence the following someone has, those are individuals, and that's amazing. But if you influence the leader, you create exponential change, because then that leader is going to influence another leader and that type of deal. So simply put, a pastor to pastors. And I've been leading people since I was a kid. I started my first business when I was 12 years old. So I was hiring.
Are you living out your dream that you had as a kid?
Great question. No, but I am living out God's dream.
What was your dream as a kid?
Are you ready? So here's what I want to do. I had it all planned out. In fact, we found a video when I was 16 years old. I did a TV interview because I pioneered this program called Teen Court that was like this diversion program. And so I was one of three African Americans. And that was part of that. And I helped pioneer. We literally created the program. We flew to Alaska to teach other people about it. Anyway, we have the video. And in the video, I had a plan. So I wanted to be a lawyer, be appointed to a local judgeship. Then I wanted to shift into politics. And then I wanted to, do, a couple congressional roles. And then eventually my plan, and literally we have it documented, when I was 16 years old, I wanted to be the first Black president of the United States of America. Then President Obama did it. And I said, well, there goes that. So that was my plan. Like I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to go into politics. And what's amazing, this was God's plan for me, but can I be honest? Everything I wanted to do, in many ways I'm doing. Because guess what? The senators, they call me. The politicians, they call me. Bishop, pray with me. Bishop, what do you think about this? Bishop, look at the language in this bill. What do you like? What do you want to change? In Colorado, we were able to get the first comprehensive criminal justice reform bill done, because I picked up the phone and said to those that sat in seats of power in this summer, when all of the protests and things were rightfully going on, that was an appropriate and right response to an injustice that has gone on in America for far too long, since its inception. And we got in Colorado. Now listen, Colorado is 4% Black.
So wait, that's where you're located, right?
I'm in Denver, Colorado. We're doing a new location in Atlanta, Georgia, which is like the opposite in terms of demographics. But I'm in Denver, Colorado, and Denver is 4% Black, or Colorado is 4% Black. There are 62,217 African Americans living in the Denver metro area out of over 2 million people.
Wow.
So for us to be the first state to get comprehensive criminal justice reform done, and really police reform, because it wasn't criminal justice, let me correct that, police reform done, it was amazing. So I get to do that. So I'm involved in politics. I'm involved in law, because the police chiefs come to us. They say, what do you say? What do you do? So it's really amazing how God did it, because I get to influence the people that sit in those seats, even though I'm not the guy in there.
You're basically doing the same thing. You just don't have the official title for it, but you're doing
Don't have the title and don't have the stress or pressure of it, because I get to tell them this is how you do it. So it's really amazing how God did it. And one other thing, I wanted to be a teacher too. When I was a kid, teacher's grade books.
Well, you definitely are teaching now.
There you go. And so I got to do that. So we started Harvest Bible College. It's totally online. We've got students from literally across America and around the world. They can do it all online. They can earn their associates through doctoral level degrees. So I got to do that too. So everything I wanted to do in an interesting way, I'm doing it.
So you did mention, you mentioned where you're located. And in passing, you did mention this past election.
Sure.
So I'm gonna tiptoe around this.
No, please be direct. I like direct. Please be direct. Because I have no problem being very honest.
Okay, well, because I think I have a problem with being too direct. Okay, I'm gonna be direct.
Sure.
So the one thing that really disappointed me with this whole election process is a lot of people that I looked up to in the faith.
Sure.
A lot of people, not mentioning any names, but a lot of people who had wonderful platforms that I always watched their programs to get fed from. And I heard them make incendiary statements about how God told them, yada, 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 whatever. And almost making it seem like God was completely Republican. And if a Christian is a Democrat, well, they're hellbound. And it was very concerning, considering few weeks before when George Floyd was murdered. I use that word intentionally.
And he was.
When he was murdered, they somehow was silent. Their platform was silent, but suddenly now their platform is very vocal because election process is going on. And then once the election process ended, now they want to go back to normal. And it's like, bruh, you just said a whole lot of stuff. We can't go back to normal. So what do you have to say about all that?
You ready for this?
Yes, I am.
American Christianity is built on white supremacy. Point blank, bottom line. What we saw, let me tell you the blessing of Donald Trump being in that office for 4 years, and he's about to be on his way out, is we got to see just how racist America really is.
Yes, we did.
We thought we were past certain things. You saw many, and I'm gonna be very direct. And let me be clear, Harvest is a multicultural church. I got white people, I got black people, I got every age, every background, PhDs, doctors, lawyers, sports figures, actresses, actors, every background. I got Republicans, I got Democrats, I got people in Harvest that were pro-Trumpers. I got people in Harvest that were, Lord, let him die. I got, you know, so what my commitment was, is that I'm not gonna take a side, but I am gonna tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. So, and I said, if you're offended by that, you can go find you a pastor you can respect. But what I'm not going to do is I won't be bought by two false narratives. The first narrative is that you have to be a Republican to be a Christian. It's not true. It's ridiculous. They build it around pro-life. Let's just be honest. The statistics say that 73% of abortions are completed or done by women that attend church faithfully and consistently once a week. That's the statistics. Go Google it. What does that tell us? That Christians aren't really pro-life. Can I be very direct? Christians are pro-white baby. Let's just be very direct. Okay, in terms of the reality of that.
Yes.
So I said, you can't be pro-life and not say anything about George Floyd, not say anything about Tamara Rice, not say anything about Mike Brown. Well, they should have complied. Listen, I don't care if he spit on the man, kicked the man, that's all wrong, but that's not a sentence to death. Point blank, bottom line. So number one, we got to see how racist America really is. Number two, we got to see that at the end of the day, sometimes, especially Africans, African-Americans, et cetera, Black people, I'll use that term generic to be a generalization. Sometimes you could admire and look to white leaders because you think they have your interest in hand. And what we were able to see in this election cycle is that at the end of the day, that just wasn't the case.
Exactly.
And I'm just being very direct. And this is not to be offensive. These are just facts. And if you get offended with facts, something's wrong with you. It just is what it is. And again, I can say this loving all people. I can say this leading all people. Number three, the reality is how they demonized people who were Democrats, Christians that were Democrats. The Lord said this, we're getting angels from Africa and South America.
I know. Angels from Africa, really?
Just a mess, just a total mess. And what that said to me is you all are really that protective of white supremacy and white privilege that an individual who literally, if you check your facts, you may want to reevaluate whether or not that even serves their interest. The only conclusion one logical or erudite, studied intellectual person can come to is that this was white supremacy. And it was on display and we got to see it. So I got to be very honest about that. And that's not to demonize Republicans, because there's some Republicans, their issues was bigger than pro-life. Their issue was other things. All I'm saying is, let's tell the truth. And so I didn't take a side. I didn't say vote for this one or vote for that one. What I did do is Joe Biden and their election campaign, they had reached out and we were in communication, and they had asked us what we thought on a lot of issues, and we were able to give that input. At one of our conferences, we allowed Joe to speak, and we did that. Or excuse me, President-elect Biden, we allowed him to do that. The other guy, we never heard from them, because their thought was, you're Christians, you need to fall in line with these evangelicals. And that's not how it works. Christians are not a monolith. We are not one, there's not just one issue. And I encouraged people to vote for their interests. So people say Democrat, Republican, whatever, vote for your interests. But I remember saying that. I know I'm going on a rant, but I told you this. I said, be direct. I remember I did a video telling people vote your interests, and I had a white person respond and say, "You mean vote biblical values?" And I said, "Well, which biblical values are you talking about?"
Exactly.
I said because these injustices that are going on that you say nothing about, that's what God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for, not what you keep trying to throw against other people. That's not what that city was destroyed for. I said, you guys, I said, this version of Christianity you guys are propagating is not biblical. It's American white supremacy based. It's the same crap that was used to justify slavery, which, well, slavery's in the Bible, not the way they practiced it in America. That's chattel slavery. That type of slavery was never practiced in the world until it was done here in America. So I said, you guys are crazy with this foolishness. And I said, to say vote biblical values, which biblical value? Well, we need to protect the sanctity of marriage. Well, you know what I found interesting? Y'all the ones cheating on your wives.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not judging them, but I'm just saying, well, what protect what? Because you all want to mess, this is going too deep.
Okay.
I'll leave it alone. But anyway, as you can tell, I have lots of thoughts on that.
Okay. So there was a joke that I used to crack back in summer, when this whole in the heat or in the apex of this pandemic. Well, actually, we're going through a second wave, so I guess I can say apex. I said, whoever this modern day Jonah is, he needs to answer that call so God can just turn things around, because he's running from his call. Can he just answer his call? So it was funny and everything, but this pandemic has affected a lot of people.
Sure.
It has affected a lot of people. Yet, in all honesty, I am seeing some people get more productive, get more fulfilled, get more passionate. And I see others crumbling, getting devoured by fear, panic, and all. Right. So what say you to those who are kind of like, I don't know how things are working out for that person, it's not working out for me, I'm falling apart?
Great question. One, everybody's going to need, we do something at Harvard called coaching sessions. I still do one-on-ones with people.
Okay.
Still carve out that time, no matter how full my schedule is, to do that with people. And everybody probably is going to need a little therapy. Therapy means healing.
Yeah, hello. Hey.
Everybody's going to need probably a little bit of that. And there's nothing wrong with that, to talk through some things. You can't solve problems at the same level of intellect that created them.
Yes.
This is why you saw people bring their issues to Jesus, because they needed therapy. Therapy needs to heal. They needed healing. So I think the reality is one, for everybody to take a moment, take a day, take a few hours to step back and say, where was I when this started? And where am I now? And realize that, okay, the goal here is I need to prosper in the pandemic. Prosperity is bigger than cash, cars, and clothes. Prosper comes from the Hebrew word shalom, which is where we get our word peace, but it literally means this: nothing is missing, nothing is broken, nothing is lacking, all is well. And so that was the mentality I took coming into the pandemic. And that's what I began to teach those that I lead. Like, guys, we're going to come out of this better
Amen.
Then we went into this thing.
Amen.
And so consequently, you know, billionaires have made an additional $1 trillion during the pandemic. I'll say that again. Billionaires have made $1 trillion during the pandemic as a you know, social demographic. And so in that, what does that tell us? That there is opportunity. And while some people, and I get it, I know, because I know there's somebody watching this probably gonna say, well, Bishop, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what I went through. You know what? I may not know your specific situation, but I know that we all have been challenged and stretched instantaneously.
That is true.
Before a lot of the shutdowns and things began, I was taking a trip. I traveled that weekend to do a show for Dr. Dorinda Clark Cole, the musical artist. And I went to do her TV program. And I remember it was that Friday right before things shut down. I think it was like March 15th when things began to close down around the nation, at least in America. And I went to do a TV program, and I remember walking in the airport. I said, this looks scary. Like, this is a movie. Where are the people? I got there, and you know, everything was proceeding. This was before masks and all of that. And I was leaving because it's a little small town in Ohio where they shoot it. And I was leaving. I was like, there's nobody in this airport. I was like you could just walk up to the plane. And I said, this is scary. And I remember thinking, wow, this is interesting. And I made the decision through prayer and just looking in the Bible that every time things were negative, if you will, for the people, we saw God turn things for his people.
Yes.
When there were plagues in Egypt, the Bible says they didn't hit Goshen.
Goshen was doing great.
Goshen was doing amazing. And so that's the mentality we took. And so we had people that were connected to us that got corona, and to God be the glory. All of them are recovered. And then we began to pray strategically that they would have no aftermath, after effects, et cetera. And I told people who had it, I said, look at it as a gift. Now you may say, that's crazy. Why would you say that? But just hear it out. I said, because you won't walk around with the same fear that other people may walk around with about an apprehension or fear to get it. Because every people was like, I can't believe God let this happen. And I said, well, instead of questioning why he let it happen, ask yourself the question of what are the benefits that it did happen. And so, you know, we begin to take that approach. And so I say to those that feel like they're crushing and not really winning or doing well, take a moment, step back. Where were you when you started? Where are you now? And what do you want to see yourself accomplish? Because at the end of the day, we see it over and over again in the Bible. You can prosper in the midst of a pandemic. And that's beyond your money. That's your mind, your body. Like, have a better body coming out of this thing.
Hello. So, tell us about your church, Harvest Church. So that person watching and it's like, oh, I like this bishop. Oh, he looks so young. He sounds so wise. There's so much integrity in what he's saying. I want to be a part of this. Tell us about your church, the vision of your church, and how people can participate.
Awesome. Thank you. And I love the question. And again, let me say, I know we jumped right into the fitness discussion, but let me say thank you for having me. I'm grateful and honored to be with you. You know, Harvest was birthed really from God's direction. And we say our mission is to, and we have a whole symbol of it, love God, love people, and love life. That's what the Bible says. Jesus said the most important commandment, love the Lord with all your heart, soul, and strength. He said the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. So everything at Harvest is built around those three principles: loving God, love people, love life. We loved it so much we trademarked it. And so in that, the church is every age, every background. And so we call it like the United Nations of Church. You're going to see people from every nation. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to see people who are across a variety of political spectrums, a variety of financial perspectives. You're going to see people that are multimillionaires sitting next to people who are praying that they get a call back on Monday for the job. It is literally everything and everybody. And what we do is, I'm going to give you the word. That word's going to help you get results. Everything I do is about results. Because when I was coming up in church, what used to frustrate me is I would say, you know, we're doing all this church stuff. I said, but where are the results? Like, where's the fruit? And so everything I do is not just about feeling good. It's about actually having the tools to make things good, make things better.
And you know what? There's something about you that I like. Well, I can't stand hooping and hollering. Nothing wrong with it. It just it's just so cliche.
Sure.
Like, okay, enough already. Can you just calm down and bring it and just say it? Why are you ranting and ranting all over the place? And that's one thing I'm sure maybe you probably can, but that's one thing you don't do.
Right.
You just say it. You just teach it.
Just teach it. And, you know, and I have fun with it too. Like, you know, there's sometimes I'll literally say, I feel. But listen.
Okay, you got frozen for a minute.
Uh-oh, can you hear me now? Okay. Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. I said, I really think church should be fun. So at any message, you're going to hear me give you the word. You're going to learn more. What blesses me is when I hear people say, Bishop, I've been saved for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. And I've learned more in this short amount of time sitting under you that I have the whole rest of my life and walk with God. That blesses me. That also concerns me. But, you know, I can only do what my assignment is to do. And so we have fun. So in any message, I'm gonna give you the word, and I may drop into for example, last Wednesday we did. Some of y'all may remember the song Montel Jordan, "This Is How We Do It." That was last Wednesday's message. This is how we do it. And so in the middle of the message, we doing "This Is How You Do It" in the middle of the message. I love New Jack Swing music, so that era, like Guy, Teddy Riley, Christopher Woods, all that kind of thing.
Oh, so, Lord, please don't take me back.
Oh, listen, I remember. So we have done "Can You Stand the Rain" for an altar call. Like, we have fun. I believe in having fun in church. You know, sometimes people are two different people in church and out of church, but that's because they can't have fun in church. So they sit there and like they were baptized in pickle juice in church and then walk out and have fun. In my view, come in here and have fun, go out there and have fun. Like, you can literally love God and have fun at the same time.
So I'm going to do something here, which is, I'm going to try and put you in a box. I'm going to try and pigeonhole you.
Okay. I don't like boxes, but come on, let's make it do what it do.
So like Joel Osteen is like the hope pastor. He is always talking about hope. Benny Hinn is like the healing pastor, always talking about healing. So what would you say you are?
Great question. I am the results pastor.
I like that. We are not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it's the power of God unto salvation for them that believe. The power.
Yeah. So, but what's the purpose of power? To get results.
Exactly.
Results.
Exactly.
Results in your finances, results in your family, results in your mind, results in breaking generational curses. You know, so to me, I would say that I'm the guy with results. Like, everybody has people in their life that you know you can call because they're gonna get it done. I'm that person. You call me because you know I'm gonna give you something to get done.
I like that.
You ain't gonna just sit on the phone for an hour talking about it. No, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, okay, so let's do this. Let's get it done. I'm that guy, the guy that you call when you want to get it done.
Well, you know what? Our time is up.
Wow, this is amazing. That went fast.
I know, it actually went past the time allotted, and I'm like, okay. So what would that, if you have one last thing or one nugget of truth to drop to people listening, speak from your spirit.
You know, I would say this. God has used 2020 to make all things new. Zero, the number in biblical numerology, just meaning the spiritual meaning of it, it means all things new, not a new beginning, which means it has no connection to what was before. Your life is in a new normal. That new normal is not a punishment. It is, in fact, promotion. It is, in fact, where God wants to use it to catapult you into your next. And so I would say to everybody that your next 12 will be your best 12. Amen. Use what this year has been for you, the highs, the lows, the peaks, the valleys. Use it. Investigate it, interrogate it, get the lessons out of it, so then you can step into your next 12 and make those the best 12, or excuse, best 12 months of your life. But your life is not over. Your greatest days are not behind you. Even if you're trying to shed some pandemic pounds and get you your pandemic, whatever it is, your best days are not behind you. They are literally here and now and ahead of you. So I would say, get yourself excited, get yourself ready, because best you haven't seen it yet.
Well, thank you very much for this time of conversation with you. And we're going to have information to your social media, your church, and even things that you may be pro-social to. We'll have the information, the links in the description of this video. And once again, thank you very much, Bishop.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And that was my conversation with Bishop Kevin Foreman. Actually, I did enjoy. I enjoyed talking with him. He it's very conversational and very straightforward. I remember I had this interview with someone, a minister, a man of the cloth, and he was so religious sounding. It was like, can we just talk? Can you just be direct? So I really enjoyed talking with Bishop Foreman. And information for his church and everything is going to be in the description section of this video. And please like, comment. We appreciate your questions, opinions, suggestions, things you agree, things you don't agree with. Hey, let's talk. And of course, support and share with your network. And once again, this is ChatFest with Kenneth. You guys have a wonderful day.